Our next speaker, she's a textile artist, maker, illustrator, fashion designer, and a true socialist, as in S-E-W. And she feels passionate about the need to speak out about the healing power of art and how art can be supportive to people with mental health issues. She recently showed her stitch artwork at the St Pancras Conference Centre. Her goals are to make sustainable and ethically based collections of work to create a stitch revolution. And tonight, Cassandra's going to talk about her own personal sewing story. So please can we have another round of applause?
Hello, this is work. Okay. I was really moved. Where's Georgina? Thank you. So I'm kind of like reeling after that. My name is Cassandra Whitfield. I'm a textile artist, and I also have a generalised anxiety disorder, which is a mental health issue. As a textile artist, I work in many different mediums, but mostly I love sewing. I make wearable art, as you can see. There's a few things there as well. I work to commission and have been involved in many exhibitions over the years. Excuse me. So, why am I here? Quite a few months ago, I had a calling. I was looking at artists that I liked, and I saw that some of them did talks, and I thought, I want to do that. I could do that. I've done a couple already, but it was not to so many people. And then these voices came into my head, as usual. Why would anybody want to listen to me? Don't be so ridiculous. What are you going to talk about? Why would anybody turn up? And then I realised that's what I wanted to talk about. My inner critic was very vibrant then. And I realised that I wanted to talk about how making art has helped me to heal my anxiety and, to a point, my depression as well, alongside other things. And then I realised, is that really what I want to do in front of loads of people? Questions came up in my head. But in my other talks, people had actually thanked me for talking about the mental health issues as well, which was a really big deal for me because I was really, really cacking it. So the statement is, there's absolutely no doubt that art supports me to manage my mental health issues. I'm a strong believer and living proof of that. I decided the best way to illustrate that was to bring up a few stories from my life and how creativity at that time, or bits or things, had helped me along the way. So here goes. First one's called The Paper and the Crayon. When I was 5, my mum and dad split up. Now I'm older, I wonder why they were ever together. But that's another story. However, the fact that they split up had a profound effect on my life. I felt really separate from everything and everybody around me. I was really little. I walked around in a daze half the time. I just felt disconnected from everybody. Having started school, there was one thing that happened that changed the feeling enough to make a difference. I remember being at school and sitting at my desk and the teacher handing around this big box of crayons full of chunky wax crayons, the kind that melt in your hand when it's hot in the summer. I reached in and I pulled out a big blue chunky wax crayon and my fingers were wrapped around it, and I felt a sense of excitement and connection for the first time in a long time. The teacher also handed around that big newsprint paper that's slightly shiny, and I implicitly remember the crayon in my hand touching that piece of paper, and my heart opened up for the first time in a long time. And my hand was moving around and there were blue circles all over the page, and it kind of helped me to carry on that one moment for the next stage of my life. The next story is called The Sewing Box. So I kept going. Although I felt clumsy and awkward and anxious a lot of the time when I was at school, I've been started to get bullied already and eating quite a lot to stuff it all down. I put on quite a lot of weight. I got a sewing box around my 12th birthday. My dad took me up to the Midlands where my grandma lived, and I remember receiving it. I was only seeing him every 2 weeks by then, and that was kind of confusing for me because I was still quite little. I remember opening up the paper and seeing this wicker box inside, old-fashioned style, I opened up the lid, and inside was this green bold print of fabric all over it, and little sections with pockets on the side and a pin cushion at the front. I ran my hand over the fabric, and I just remember feeling connection again for the first time, the idea of being creative and all the things that I could make. And my heart opened up again. That coincided with a time when, because I was being bullied, I got taken into the home economics department by a really lovely teacher called Mrs. Roberts. And I remember the smell of the scones and the sewing machines lined up, and these Winnie the Poohs all along the windowsill. And I remember seeing their fabric stitched together and their faces being held together. And that was a real sense of connection again for me. The next story is called Bleach Blonde Hair, Eyeliner and Art College. From primary school to secondary school, I don't really recall many memories of connection to creativity. I was just kind of getting by. I hated school. I was being really horribly bullied by a bunch of really horrible girls, but they obviously all had their own issues at the time. I walked around pretty much disconnected to everyone. I felt really different from everybody. I had bleach blonde hair, really dark eyeliner. I wore my uniform how I wanted. Teachers didn't like me. I was really kind of feeling very pushed down by everything. But luckily for me, I got into art college to study fashion. I started going clubbing and I was heavily into music. Where's the music right? So I totally connect with what you're saying. I customised my clothes, and I was making wearable art as well. Wearable art, as in wearable art. Vivienne Westwood was starting out, and Jean-Paul Gaultier was too. Stripy tights and crinolines, big hats with buckles, charity shop heaven and Portobello Market. I made clothes for me and my friends during the days, customising things that we'd bought, and then we used to go out clubbing. You could go to the Royal Opera House and dance to beats and tunes and watch ballerinas turning around on the stage. It was incredible. The Mud Club had opened, and there was a code where you had to dress up and look different to get in. Easy peasy. I spent most of my days sewing at college, painting and drawing at the same time, illustrations, and these were really good times for me. I didn't feel anxious much at that stage. I wonder why. So this is an important footnote about God. A bit later on, I discovered Louise Hay and You Can Heal Your Life. I don't know if anybody's heard of it here. This had a profound effect on my life. God bless Louise Hay. Did I say God? Yes, I did. I can't even believe that I'm saying that out loud. But at that point, I wasn't into God at all. I found it very difficult to connect to this idea of, someone controlling everything. But I did have my idea about what that was for me. It was like an energy or a source, or, like a rumbling or something like the mother lode was better for me. So I used that, or universe and creativity. So she gave me permission to have God as I wanted it in my own way. And this opened up my head a lot more about how to connect with why I was feeling anxious, and about, my inner child, and connecting to that person as well, and hearing her a bit better. I started writing affirmations, meditating and writing, and I still do that now to this day, on and off. But my anxiety kept coming back and forth, and I hit a very bleak spot at the age of 21. This story is called The Black Hole. It's a story, but it's not really a story. It's just a nod to the depression that I was in. My anxiety kept coming back and forth, and there was a black hole for a while. Depression is not something that I find easy to talk about, but I remember not being able to have a relationship with anything and anybody apart from my Game Boy and someone called Mario. I was going to therapy for the first time, however, I don't really think it helped very much. And there's lots of other sad stuff that happened, but maybe that will be in another talk when I get a bit braver. One guess as to what got me out of the black hole: creativity. I started journaling, drawing and being creative again, writing about my feelings, drawing myself in different meditative positions. And I went away for a year, which really helped, and I was journaling all the way through that as well. There's a massive thread, as you can see now, that every time that I felt particularly anxious or stressed, I went back to the sketchbook and the sewing machine. So my final story is about university. I went back to college when I was 27 to study design crafts, specialising in multimedia textiles. My anxiety ran heavily through all this period because I was kind of like a mature student, and so I was always questioning myself, you know, you're not good enough, you can't paint, you can't draw, you can't sew. I thought everybody was better than me. I decided to base my final show on then 30 years of my life, so I had 3 pieces that were like 10 years each, and it was like a totem or a shrine. I had a big wooden box full of sketchbooks all stitched together with photos and illustrations and drawings, bound together by tape measures and hung on knitting needles. It was like a box of memories. It was as if I was processing everything using art as my tool. It was really deep cleansing process for me. My little hands making intricate, beautiful objects out of bits of me and times past, working through all the bad times and stitching the good times back together again. So, this is the beginning and the end. By now you realise I have to have creativity in my life. I love and like-minded people, and meditation and writing. Anytime I feel stressed, I remember to go back to my table and do something creative. I try to surround myself with things that I enjoy, but when the mist of anxiety creeps up from the back of my neck and over my head, or I hit a low spot, I remind myself gently, I have been here before. I've got through this before, and I can get through this again. It will pass, it always passes. Things always change. So yeah, that's it. You can have a look at my stuff. I've got cards if anybody would like to look at my website over there. I'm sitting over there. And if anybody would like a commission or would like to talk to me more about talks, you can get a card with me, or I'll be on the website as well that Sally will put up on Inspiring Talks. Thanks very much.